Hey everybody, welcome to our tarot readings for June 16th. Today's my sister's birthday. I just saw that. Happy birthday to my sister Summer. So I'm just going to wait a few moments as people come into the room, and then we're going to get started. Today's topic is about money and reading tarot, and not about reading tarot for money, although there's going to be a bit of that in there, but about money in general. So I know it's a couple minutes late actually popping into the room, so I'm gonna wait and see if anybody wants to pop in to play with me today. And we're gonna do a quick smudge too, because to clear my space. So I'm lighting, this is a sage stick. There's Jenny. Hi Jenny. A little sage, what is it? Sage, lavender, and cedar. Something I just got from Jimbo's. And since money is such a charged topic, I was thinking this is something we're going to need to smudge anyone that shows up on the call. So we just clear my space. Clear my little creative couch here. And we clear everyone else's space that's willing to receive. And just shedding off those first limiting beliefs about any of it. There we go. Awesome. Yeah, Jenny just put in there, she just spent the first writing a retreat on money love. Oh yes, you are our money queen here. So I am so happy to have you in the room. I'm tempted to just stick you up on the webinar to do this one with me, because I know that you have a lot about money. So and I get these messages of what these things are supposed to, like, kind of the topics, like the day before. I'm gonna put this aside. The day before I do them, so it's like I could just do plain old readings and we could just do a reading, but for some reason some of these little hits of like, you need to talk about money, or did this come through, so I listen. So yeah, awesome. Yeah, Jenny's going to make us a program for all of this, so I'm just clearing my space off so I can have good space on there. So we're running a little late this morning, a little bit less than we want to do both. So just gonna clear my cards. Awesome. And if anyone else pops in, welcome, and we'll just go ahead and get started. So hi everybody, this is Jamie Lyerly, and welcome to my tarot readings, my turned on tarot readings. And so for today, it's June 16th, 2015, and we're going to talk about money. So the shape of the show for here today is that we'll talk about, I'll do a little introduction about who I am, and then we'll do, and just tell you a little bit about my story, and then we'll do a little small talking piece around money and my points of view around money and what I know around money and what I know around money, and using tarot to kind of to get the energy of it, and to help you. And then we'll go right into doing personal readings for anyone that's here on the call. And then I'll make a quick offer. So a quick offer, and we'll close the container, and then I'll make a quick offer if you want to go deeper with me. Okay. And so like, we have Jenny here live, and anyone else that pops in, so just feel free to pop in any questions or anything that you want to talk about, in there into the chat field, and then we'll just bring them up as they go. So awesome. Okay, so quick drink of water. And we'll just talk, we're going to talk first about just the distinctions that I have around money. And this has been changing. My point of view around money has been changing really dynamically by my work with Access Consciousness and Corey Michelle, and the facilitators Corey Michelle and Catherine McIntyre have been changing my views around money pretty significantly as I'm in their money class. But I've been thinking about money my whole life, like if we go by the sun signs, I'm a Taurus. So I'm all about money. Money is one of those things that like money and pleasure and, you know, all of these things that have to do with the body. You know, I came in as a tourist to be able to learn about those things. And you know, and when you come in to kind of learn about it and experience things like that, then you usually have to go through a whole section of your life where you aren't connected to those things. So I was thinking about what I wanted to talk around, you know, money is that I know a lot about money, more than I actually want to admit. And that's kind of a freeing thing when you actually do recognize like, oh crap, I actually do know a lot about money, you know. And it's but I know a lot about money from the side of not having versus having. And the way that, you know, my teacher Beatrix talks about that you can learn a lesson from either experiencing it by having it or experiencing it by not having it. And so I've learned, you know, how to move in between the two worlds of money through having it and not having it, and, you know, kind of the reasons and understanding why I haven't allowed it to be in my world as deeply as I want it to be. And so when I thought about the idea of doing this for the tarot readings, is the fact that, you know, my story behind that is when I was in my coaching program, there was a time where, you know, it was one of those like crunching, like you need to have $1,000 to pay your tuition or you're out of the program. You know, and there was multiple times during that program that I had those like little crunches because I was back on my pay and I wasn't, you know, like I wasn't able to be able to pay the money for it at the time. And so I would get these compressions to be able to come up with a huge amount of money, in my world, a huge amount of money, in a short amount of time, like as in like 3 days, you know, like 2 to 3 days. And one of the things that came up during my time with trying to come up with a huge amount of money in a short amount of time was that it actually put enough compression on me to look at like, well, what can I sell? You know, and here I'm in a coaching program with other coaches. So selling coaching services, yes, I could sell that to other people, but what could I sell to the other coaches? Like, what was my gift that was unique? And one of them, you know, one of the gifts that came up of like, okay, well, what could I sell? It was tarot readings, you know, and intuitive astrology, which I was calling orgasmic astrology. And it was, and I would do these readings for people. And they would just, you know, they come in really light, like, oh, I helped Jamie, you know, I paid her, you know, $50 and I helped her. And then I would do a reading from them and they'd be like, whoa, what just happened here? Like, you just changed my world in a half an hour. Like, what? And they would be surprised by the amount of information and download that would come through me. And I would just be like, oh yeah, you know, and they would come and talk about my readings and all those things that I was doing. They'd be like, what just happened? Like, I'm so shocked, you know, Jamie just changed my world. Well, that's going to take a while to be able to digest. And so, you know, what I say, you know, how I'm tying this in with my story here is the fact that like, if it wasn't for that money compression, I would have never come out as a tarot reader, ever, 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 ever. Because it was like something I secretly did. I just kind of did it for my friends and casually. But the amount of change that happens when I read for someone and the amount of change that happens, you know, in myself too, when I actually open my intuitive gifts and actually offer them to the world, it's enormous. And the gift that I have is a gift that, you know, other people have as well. But I believe that everyone has a gift or more than one gift, you know, multi-gifted. And I talk about that too, about the idea of sometimes there's so much that's trying to come out of you that it's like there's a little tiny opening that you've allowed to be able to have your gift come out. And if you have like a fire hose like I do, sometimes it's like so much pressure to just get your gift out there in the world. So if it wasn't for money issues that I have, I would have never come out as a tarot reader. I would have never started offering my gifts and having people pay money for them. You know, I would have just continued to do them for free, just as like almost like a side gig, you know, or, you know, and here, and so that's, you know, one of the things I want to offer from my story is the fact that like, if you're having money issue problems, you know, what gifts are you getting from that? You know, and what of you actually wants to come out? You know, because when you're looking around, you're like, nothing else to sell. You know, I can't really sell that. I can't really sell that. Oh, wait, what do I need to sell? Oh, okay, something I happen to be good at? Wait, what? You want to pay money for something that's easy for me? Yeah, that was another shift that I got too from Corey Michelle and the others, is that they said, you know, and it was such a profound moment for me to even hear about, was they said that whatever you find easy and that you would do all day for free, that is what you should charge the most amount of money for, because that's your gift. And it was like, whoa, what do we do with that? So that's what I want to say for you before, you know, when I go into the talking part here. That was a little bit about my story, and also just kind of the general energy I have around money, which is the fact that like these money issues that I've had have been the push to have me come out in a way that I'd be perfectly happy to nap and watch Netflix, you know, like have sex every once in a while, eat some good food. I mean, like literally, like I could live a very small life and be kind of happy about it, you know? And, but for me, when I have these like, these crunches of these money things come up, it actually makes me step up my own game. And so knowing that, then I can work with it instead of hiding from it, where I'm like, oh no, here's another bill. I'm like, well, there we go. It's time to hustle again. And then getting to the point where you're no longer hustling for just the next bill. It's where you're hustling because you're good at hustling, and you're hustling because you like hustling and you like to be able to sell your things. And so it's like, it's making that shift. So first it's from need and in desperation, and then you kind of tumble along until you get to the point where you're like, you know what, like it's actually more fun to give my gifts to the world now and have a full belly while I'm doing it, versus like having to do it when I'm starving. Okay, so that's my story and a little bit about it, and why I can talk about money is that I know it really well, and I also know it from both sides of being able to bring it in very quickly, and also by not having it and knowing what it's like to have to hustle for it. So okay, so that's my first thing for that. And then, so if there's any questions about that, pop it in the chat. And I'm going to move on to the talky piece that I have really quick around money, which of course, you know, as it's all downloading in my brain right now, and was downloading all last night and this morning. I woke up with it, with these ideas. You know, I didn't write anything down, like, so I just came here to give it all to you. But the first thing I want to talk about money is, you know, and it was again something that Corey Michelle and Catherine really helped me to see, which is money is for your body. Now, your infinite being, like your, like who you are, that bigness of you, that bigness part is like, it's one with the universe, and you can get all super spiritual, and it's open and big and expansive, and I love feeling that energy. But the energy, that doesn't need money. It just is. It's the energy. The energy is. There's the energy itself is not like, I'm so big that $1,000 will drop into my lap right now, and I am so expansive that $1 million will. It doesn't matter. Like none of that matters to that energy of bigness. Like you are as big as you want to be, and you're as big as your energy is allowing it to go. It's not the body. So the money is for this body, this sometimes big, sometimes small, like fragile, sensitive body. And so, you know, the reason I'm tying this in there with tarot and reading things is the fact that, like, when you're formulating your questions, and we'll talk about questions in just a minute, you know, your body's involved in all of this. So spirit will have an answer for you. Go do this, you know, like, or it might not have an actual, like, go do this kind of answer, but spirit will give you kind of the bigness energy. Like, oh, you're meant to be a multimillionaire, or, you know, something like you might get the 10 of Pentacles, and it's like, oh, that's complete money completion. But if your body's not on board for that, you know, then it's not going to happen. And the way that, you know, and that's my point of view on that one, is the fact that, like, you we'll move to that little piece too, the next piece on just a moment. But the idea that like whatever the cards are reading or the energy that you're reading, that's the bigness of the universe energy. And the way that you actually, what you're learning here in this lifetime is how to do it through a body. These bodies are like, we were given these instruments to be able to do something different in the world than just what we could do as an energy. And we can do a lot of magic as a being and energy. I think about like the way I'm kind of doing this, like the pulling of the magic of pulling through the universe to be able to make the money come through and allow your magnetism. And that's a whole exercise that if we have time at the end, we can totally do that. But but my idea behind that is the fact that we have these bodies that are just ready for us to actually give to. And so when you think about it, if you have extra money, or if not, you say extra money, but like, what are you doing with your money that actually is taking care of your body? And how are you investing in your body so that your body can actually facilitate and actualize all the other things in the world that you want? Now you can bring your business and your bigness out, and I think that if your body is not nurtured, then, you're not going to be able to bring forth the bigness energy that you are. You can't, if you're starving, there's just no way. Everybody, there's no way that you can actually give your message. And so the money, again, is for your body, and the amount of money, I'm seeing the correlation here, and this is a big topic for me, so I'll just move on to the next one in just a minute. But the big part that I see for myself is that how much money I'm willing to take in is how much I'm wanting to be nice to myself. How much kindness am I willing to have at that moment? And if you come, from an abusive background like I do, it's really hard sometimes to be able to allow the money to come in, because it's really connected in to just how nice you want to be to yourself, and how sweet are you willing to be, and how kind are you willing to be, and how much are you willing to give to this body. And so, I see the bodies as being a separate entity than just my being, my spirit. And now I'm learning how to be in communion with that body. And the body actually requires a lot more money than I've been bringing in recently. And so what I can tell with involving, connecting with your intuition in the tarot is keep your body in the equation. Like if you're reading the tarot and it's telling you you're going to be a millionaire or something, great. Awesome. Like, what does your body want? How much of that does your body actually want? And how much more, it's just remembering that you're in a body is a great way to be able to tie in for when you're doing these readings and you're getting these like big energies, and the way that you see the bigness of the energy, and you don't want to limit your possibilities, but remember that you're in a body. It's why I only do these readings. I do them once a week, but I do them for an hour, and then I go and I take a nap. Or I just like shut that brain that opens up really big, I shut it down so that I can take care of the body. Okay? So remember, money's for your body, and then when we're reading tarot, the trick is to like remember that you're actually in a body. Okay. So then that's I'm going a little longer than I expected. So let me say number two of my money and tarot together. It's the Fantasies and Insanities, and that's the best way to put it, which is, again, we go back to this whole, it's not that anyone here on the call or anyone that's watching this later can't be a millionaire. I totally open for that and want that for you and for myself one day. I just know right now that if I fantasize about being a millionaire, that distracts me from actually getting like my feet on the ground and walking forward in the steps that are right here in front of me. And so for me, when I look and I see this big energy of like, oh, you're going to be a brilliant broadcaster. And I get that a lot, like from my teacher. She's like, you're just a broadcaster. Just go be a broadcaster. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. But then again, I got to tie it into the body. Like, how often can I broadcast? And then, how often can I do that? And where am I bringing my gifts in? And so the second piece here is about where are you in fantasy and insanities around money? And that also means buying your belief system from your parents. You know, if you're hearing the words like money doesn't grow on trees, or, you know, oh, you can't make money instantly, or no one would want to pay you for that. Like, I think in general, like, I remember the point of view my dad had when I became, when I switched to be an art major, and it was my stepmom, I think, that actually said it, but it was, had both of them on the phone, and they said, I thought you went to college so you wouldn't starve. And it was like, ouch. That one was so harsh, because it was like, here I am in college and excelling in a way that I haven't ever had in my life, and I was doing so well. And the exciting thing about me was like, oh my gosh, I found something I'm passionate about. And at the time I was doing art history, and I was like, I am passionate about bringing art to the world, and doing it through these amazing museums I was working for. I was a curatorial assistant at a women's history museum. And it was like, what passion I had for that. And then to hear someone else say, like, you can't make any money from that. It was just like, it was like a knife in my belly. And I had to disconnect from, I didn't have to, but like, I chose to disconnect from that energy, because it wasn't true for me. You know, I mean, to me, I think the most sustainable business is something you're passionate about. You know, who gives a fuck what like actually makes money if you're not actually like happy about doing it? I mean, that's all I gotta say, is that like, if you're not literally like, oh boy, I get to do this, you're not doing the job that you really want to do. You know, and bringing your gifts to the world can be really difficult. And yeah, it triggers all of your crap, and it, you know, you have to shine a light on it, and and it's like, then you have to get charged money for it, and and you have to tell people like, this is my money, and they equate it to your worth, and all that other crapola that I just want to say, all of it's crap. And you can, my idea, or the things, point of views that I'm shifting around here, is you can charge whatever you want for your services. It's whatever you're in resonance and you want to pay for it, and it has nothing to do with your worth. You're worth millions and bajillions, and you're priceless. So whatever you're charging for your sessions, or whatever it is about that, has nothing to do with how much you value yourself, unless you choose to make it that way. I charge a certain thing because it feels good. It feels good to charge the thing that I do. And so the idea that money and your worth have anything to do with it, that's an insanity as well. And so allowing those things to come up and just clear them, just be like, okay, I'm done with this. This thought's not working. If you do access consciousness, they have the clearing statement, so you can pod POC, those things. Or if you have other ways that you do clearing, I just like to say like, okay, that's not mine. Send it back, return the sender. That one's not mine. And so when you're reading tarot, you go where you're, and you're reading and you see these cards, either negative or positive. I hate to put it that way, but like, either where the card is telling you, you will be desolate, and you can be a victim to the card, or you can look at it and be like, hey, is that the energy that I'm running around right now? Oh boy, maybe I want to change that. Like, what else is possible? And like, what would it take for me to be able to change this dramatic energy into something where I go, oh, this is the fuel that I need to move forward? Okay. And so, again, it's not becoming a victim to the tarot or to any tool. The tarot is just a tool. And I like to do these things about the Turned On Tarot, but I actually am realizing the fact that it's just Jamie wanting to talk about shit, like, it's just me wanting to talk about stuff that's really important, and doing it from the fact of like, we use this tool because it's easy. It's easy to use this tool, and it makes sense. It's visual. You can look at it. You can get the messages in. And it's one of those things that like, I'm all about knowing is faster than thinking. And so when you know something, you only need to process it in your beautiful brain. You just know it. And so when I take out the tarot and when I read for other people, I'm just know. Like, I can't give you like the statistics on it. And I love me some empirical data. I'm a nerdy girl. I love me some geeky. I can sit in front of a statistical thing and I can research all day long and actually be a happy woman. Like, not a lot of people can say that. But when it comes to knowing and money and intuition, like, I would much rather have it downloaded directly into my brain than having to find the statistics for it. Because if it's downloaded directly into my brain, I know it. Like, I don't need to, research it. And I think about, and we'll move on to the third piece in just a moment here. But I think about, do you remember in The Matrix how when they were trying to teach Neo how to learn how to work the Matrix, and they just download it directly? They're like, oh, these little system programs, skip those. No, I don't really need those. Oh, okay, let's do that. Fighting, awesome. He's download, and he goes, I know Kung Fu. So what in your life do you know on that? I know Kung Fu. I know money. And just at that moment, you know it. You know it, and you're going to move forward from it. So the tarot is actually a tool to get you there. And so are so many other healing modalities. But here we're focusing on doing it through allowing these cards to talk to you. Okay? All right, awesome. So clearing the fantasy insanity. So we have the first one is remember your body. And then the second one is clearing the fantasies and insanities, which is allowing yourself to use this and not go down or go flying off into like, what would it be like? It's staying here in the body, in the real action steps. Okay. And then the third piece that I have is asking, I hate to use the word right, but asking the right questions, which is asking questions of the tarot and of anything that you're doing here in a way that really nurtures you and allows you to have the space to be able to open the possibility. So now you can do a yes/no reading with just like, you pull it like, okay, what's the answer, yes or no? And then, I pulled this here. So whatever the answer to that was, that's a yes, because it's right side up and it's a really happy card, hold on, for some reason my Skype is going crazy. So let me just quit that so it can not bother me. Okay, cool. And, so it's like, okay, what's the answer? Yes, no. Okay, that's a no because it's reversed. And, but eights are always right side up. So anyway, you can do it for yes, no kind of things if you want to answer that. But the question can really be an amazing opportunity to see where your own mind is at. And it's not about using the tarot to be able to, again, to like limit yourself. It's literally asking the questions. And a lot of the times formulating the question is the trickiest part of doing a tarot reading, because you can say, okay, what do I need to know about this, or what can support me here, or, what would it take, or what do I need to know about this? And like those general questions, you can do that. And you can also see, like, if you're asking a question, like if you're asking a question about like say, if you're asking a question around money, it'd be like, well, will Tommy give me the money for this or something? Like you can tell that you're in, like, there's no investment underneath that. And again, we talked about it last week about having invested. When you're invested in the question, it's hard to get a reading. So you got to go to someone else who's not partial. And so again, formulating the question and allowing the question, to be open-ended, but also allowing the question to be specific enough that you can actually get some real information. Now, some of the questions that I really like to ask are, what's the energy around this? What kind of support do I have? And what's the next steps? And then going from there, remembering the pieces like we had before, like remembering you're in a body, knowing that there might be some fantasies and insanities that you might be tripped up in, and then continue to ask questions. Like the tarot can be an answer, if you want to call it an answer, but an answer can sometimes lock you into the conclusion of it. And so it's almost like, I think about like a test scores for you get the right and the wrong answer. And so when you're looking at your test, like later, you're like, you don't ever look at the answers that you got right because you're like, well, I know those. You look at the things that are wrong. And so we have a focus in our society on like, what's wrong? Like, what's wrong here? What's wrong here? And a lot of people use tarot or any of these divination things to be able to figure out what's wrong. And I want to come from a different area that, like, yeah, sure, you can look at it from what's wrong. And I do that sometimes of like, what's going on? I just need to know this, but if you come from the wrongness, you're only going to continue to perpetuate wrongness. So the thing that I want to, just instill in you, like if you're watching this here, and the idea that like, okay, whatever comes up here, I'm not wrong. 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 And say it until you can really feel, even when I said, oh, I'm not wrong, I felt this like pinching and then a release in my chest. Like, really? Okay, I'm not wrong. And when you've spent your lifetime hearing that you're wrong, or like having people tell you so many times, like, oh, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, or you're seeing something, you do something and someone tries to give you an adjustment for it, and you see that you're wrong and you go down about it, or you make the situation wrong, and sometimes, that's one of the reasons why when you go on vacation and you come back to your normal life, you're like, what's going on here? Because like, and then sometimes there's a chance of making it wrong, when like all it is an opportunity right there to be able to see, okay, the energy that's around me right now is not the energy I want right now, and what can I do to change it? Coming from like, at this moment, I'm in this place, in this body, what can I do to change it? So that's my 3 keys there about how to work with tarot and money, which which is number 1, again, remember the body. You're in a body, so even what the tarot tells you to do, you gotta gauge it by what can your body handle right now, and remembering to give some of that money that you bring in back to your body in a really like kind, loving way. Your body will be really happy, and then your body will help contribute to your next money coming in. By you treating it nice, it's going to contribute even more, because you'll be radiating that energy of just loving acceptance and just nurturing. When you're loving on your body, like, people can't help but be attracted to that. So number 1, remember that. Remember your body. And then remember your body in your readings. So when you're doing readings, or when you're having a reading there, if someone tells you go do this and it doesn't feel right in your body, it's not right for you at the moment. So number 2 about money and tarot and is keeping out of fantasies and insanities, which is basically, like keeping it real with money, real with what's the next step for you. I would love right now to have $10,000 in my bank account, but what would really make me happy? If I had like 500 or 1,000. Like, we can just right now, like, that feels real and reachable, and it's something that I can step towards, and as I step there, I can make the next step and then the next step, and it's just really finding the number that feels resonant for you and allowing that to inform that, what you're doing with these tarot. Okay, and then the third one is really just asking questions and continuing to allow the tarot to be, to not be the answer, the only answer to it, but the opening for more questions, an opening for more, like, oh, like, how does it get any better than this? What else is possible? Like, great, that's so awesome. Like, I just got a latte from a friend. That's amazing. Like, what else can I get here? That's amazing. What else can I have here? Or what else can I? To me, I just want to share that I love gifting money to people. Like, I absolutely love spending money. I love gifting money, and I love buying services from brilliant people. And so I spend a lot of money on classes. I value education. I value growth and personal growth. And if you want to see one thing that I spend the most amount of money on, it's classes and giving money, like passionate people. I support passionate people, and they support me, and I can feel that. I can feel how deeply that goes. And so that's one of the things that, if you look at like my budget of whatever extra money Jamie has, she's buying classes or services for her body when it comes to like, something like that. I mean, there's extra money for me, or money, I say extra money, but like any money that I have that like I really want. Like, I believe in education and I believe in personal growth. And so it's like, that's what turns me on to be able to spend and invest my money in. And so allowing that to not be wrong, and just know that like, when I have extra money come in, I'm like, which class should I go to? So it's just not, there's no wrongness there. It's just like, keep in the question, you know, so allowing yourself to formulate the right questions for you, for your tarot readings, and also to be able to know that the question is just the beginning. It's not the answer, and that, you know, it's not the answer forever. If it's the answer for this next 10 seconds, great. But if you lock in that, like, you need to go toward that and stay there, it's going to limit your energy and what you can bring. And you have a lot of really great gifts to bring to the world. So just start to bring them and allow them to go forward. So, okay. So that's my talk on money, and I went a lot longer than I expected, but I obviously have a lot to say about that. So we're going to go ahead and we have Jenny here, and if anyone else popped in while I was not paying attention, we'll do a reading. So we'll go ahead and Jenny, you go ahead and have your questions about anything that you want. You can talk money if you want to. We're going to do a reading on just for the group too while you put your question in. Okay, so what does the group need to know about money and everything that I just downloaded here? Okay, Page of Cups. Can you see that? Okay, so the pages are always about, like, they're the new beginnings. They're juvenile. They're juvenile it's not new beginnings like an ace, but it's that juvenile, like, playful, childlike experience. And this is the Page of Cups. So this is all about, you know, love and allowing that loving energy to be able to have that, you know, to come into your life. And this is like the emotions in the background too. And what I see again is this, like, fish that's looking out at this young boy. And the fish is, you know, like, yeah, I think about, we're in right now, Neptune just went into Pisces. And so allowing us to go deep into the, you know, this is a water card. I would say this is so tied into what we're going on right now, which the energy of that's going to be in here for 5 months. And it's all, again, about, you know, Neptune is about illusions, and it's about going deep. You know, it's going deep, and it's about illusions. And so it's like when you're down deep in the water, it's foggy, it's hazy, it's down, you know, down there it's murky, so you can't really see things quite as clearly. And my teacher likes to talk about the fact that that Neptune is about having, how you have these really thick rose-colored glasses on. So you are in the fantasies and insanities during Neptune. But what I see the energy for everyone around the money here is allowing yourself to kind of see, you know, the fish is all about abundance too. So it's allowing yourself to actually look abundance in the eye and be like, hey, you kind of, you know, like, you have a physicality to you. You're not just hidden away. You're not just an etheric energy. You're actually a physicality. So what physically can I do to feel more abundant? And so, and allowing yourself to do it from this, like, kind of childlike wonder of, like, ooh, that would be really fun. What would be really fun for my body today? What would be really fun for my energy? What would be really fun to be able to bring physical? Like, how much money could I actually bring in today? How much money, you know, like, how much fun would it be to be able to go and, like, have $1,000 right here on my lap? And so allowing yourself to actually go into that playfulness of, like, where it's not so serious, you know, like, we're so serious around money. And especially when you're like, I have money problems, I need to get serious with my money, I need to go make a budget. And do you know how many times that actually lasts for people, that budget thing? I mean, I'm sure a budget would be awesome, but, like, you know, the budgets are only there if you're actually going to play with it, if you're actually going to look at it and be real with it. But if you're just going to use it as another tool to beat yourself up, it's not going to last very long. You know, that child rebellion will be like, that was nice for 2 minutes, and now we're going to go spend you know, $100 on something that we don't need to be able to numb out. Like, so there's a way that, like, we can get really juvenile with our money by not paying attention to, you know, the real energy, and try to go into that punishment energy. And that's not what we need to do anymore. Like, right now it's about playing with money. And even if you just need to take money out and actually, like, physically hold it in your hands and play with it, like you're, you know, like, build something with it, just do it, because that will change your energy around money significantly. So, and I also listened to this one for myself. How much more play can we have with money? So awesome. Okay, thanks for waiting so long for during my thing, Jenny, here. So let's go. She said, my main question is due with putting my clients ahead of myself. I work harder for them and always show up for them. I want to be my best first client, and they're taking advantage of me, and I need to dial it back. Me and my bank account are drained. Yeah, I definitely can feel that one, Jenny. And thank you for bringing that energy into the field, because I know I do that myself. I mean, I worked yesterday for, I don't know, 12, 13 hours on a computer for other people, not for myself. And then my body suffered from that. Like, I was up really late. You know, I started saying these Tuesday morning things are like tired tarot, because I keep staying up, you know, working for other people, versus like really listening that my body was like, shh, we need rest. We need not to be around computers. And I know you do that as well. So let's go ahead and pull a card. And since you waited so long and so patiently, I'm going to do a 3-card reading for you, because I don't see anyone else here. So we're going to do a 3-card reading very quickly, which is, what does Jenny need to know? We can clear this out. So we're going to bring your energy a little bit closer in. There we go. Yeah. And trust that when I read these cards for you here, Jenny, like whatever pings really strongly for you, that's the place that you're going to go. Like, I want you to really trust your own knowing on this one. So, okay, great. So the general energy. Okay, awesome. The next step. Okay. And what she needs for support. Okay. So I pulled the general energy for this reading for you, which is the six of Pentacles. And I'm going to do a 3-card reading. So I pulled the 6 of Pentacles, the 8 of Pentacles reversed, and the Devil reversed for your support. Okay, so just giving you an outline of where we're going here. So the 6 of Pentacles are all about giving and receiving. And there's the way that this card is, and the general energy is the fact that, like, when you have so much to give, you want to give it. You just want to give it. You want to give it because it's really important for you to give, to be able to do that. Like, you have so much knowledge, and this person is like, you know, I'll get to that little thing here in the moment. You see this man, and he is giving out, let's see if you can see the card, little thing. So he's giving out his money to these people that are on their knees in front of him. In general, you know, someone who's like needing it, you know, who's needing to be able to receive from him. But what he has in here that I see that you might need to look at for yourself for energy wise, that he's doing it balanced, the balanced energy. So he's got this balanced, you know, the sign of the balance here, the balance sign. So he knows when to stop giving, you know, like, and that's the energy in general, is that sometimes, you know, when we're gifting people or when we're giving people, we're giving to the point where, you know, we love to give, and we love to give so much that that we forget the fact that sometimes we actually need to be on the ones, you know, we need to be on the receiving end as well. And it's not about being lower than a person, you know, but this is about, like, this position that this person is, these people are in here, are actually, it's a position of surrender. Like, it's like, and it's gratefulness to be able to receive from someone else. And so actually taking that, you know, what I see from the energy here is that, like, you're so good at this part, not so good at this part. This receiving, surrendering, allowing yourself to be humbled enough to be able to receive like what, you know, not just the money part of it, but being humble enough to actually receive the attention from yourself. And I want to say too, one thing I know about you, Jenny, and I can see it from this card as well too, is the fact that it's not just that you're like really good at this part, and these parts are uncomfortable, but it's the fact of, like, you're not sure if anyone can give to you as well as you could give to you. And so, you know, wanting to be your own best first client is amazing. And you also think about the fact that, like, what I can see is that, like, if you were actually your own best first client, like, would you actually receive from you? Or would you be like, oh my gosh, that's too much? Because you're a powerhouse, and you're a powerhouse like that's also really loving. And so sometimes you might actually blow yourself out. That sounds really bad to say it that way, but it's true. Like, what I can see from this card here is that you might not, it's not just about like not sure how to receive from other people, but you might not be sure how to receive from you. Is when which I think about, and you can put that in the comments if you if you find any resonance with that, because before I move on to the next piece, because what I can see is that, like, I actually had a time in my life where I was like, all right, that's it, only attention on me. I am no longer going to give attention out to anyone else, because I can't, I need to be able to nourish myself first. And then I went to go put attention on myself, and I literally would be like, I would take myself on these dates, and I could not handle my attention for more than like an hour total. And someone else, if someone else is paying me or anyone else, I'm like, oh, 5-6 hours worth of my attention, I will just put my direct attention on you. And I will, like, I would just go all out for them. But then when I go to turn towards me, it was like, whoa, that's a lot. That's a lot to receive. And the amount of attention and the things that you put on other people, that's a lot for you to receive. So it's like you actually have to turn the knob down a little bit and be kinder to yourself, because you're like, just think about, like, well, how much, I know for myself, having a half an hour of me sometimes is enough for people. That's it. They're done. Like, they're done. Like, I gave them so much information. Woo, they're done for the day. And so, there's a way that you could look at that, like, be a little, if you can be nice to yourself, being that first best client, I would say start in the morning, putting a little bit of attention on yourself, and literally just like continue to almost like tease yourself throughout the day. Like, hey, Jenny, I'm going to put 15 more minutes of attention on you later. Yeah. And it's like allowing yourself to come at it from a playful way. And then really, like, when you're putting that attention on yourself, do it like you do for a client, like full in, all in, like you were paying yourself, $500 or $600 or $1,000 an hour to do it. And then just allow the same thing, like, okay, gentle. You don't expect the client is gonna have a VIP day with you all the time. And that's what I think that I see from you, is that you're trying to give yourself VIP days, and your system's not ready for it yet. And so just being kind of allowing yourself to just like take you in smaller increments. Okay. All right. So I want to make sure that we end on time. So that's the first thing. So that's the general energy, giving to you in smaller increments and allowing yourself to receive it. And then knowing that you're not going to have to VIP day yourself. You'll get to the point where that will be totally easy to be able to put as much attention on you as you put on your clients. But right now, that Jenny is really quite a powerhouse. And so just allowing yourself to take her at a little smaller pace. Okay. So that's what I got for you. So the next step here that we do is it's the 8 of Pentacles reversed. So now the 8 of Pentacles reversed is actually the like your hard work, or the right side up is your hard work is paying off. And so this is the next step here. And what I see is the reverse part of it is the fact that you might just be in a bit of a resistance of not actually seeing how much work you've already done and how it's actually going to pay off. And so it's where you're a little clueless, like there's things, kind of money hanging out in the sky and all this work that you've done, and you're not sure how to, we'll get to the devil card there. Don't freak out. Yeah. So, yeah, so the card here of the next step here, yeah, she said I pull 8s a lot. I'm not surprised by that. The pulling the 8 card is, even when it's reversed, it's still read right side up because it's an 8. Like it doesn't take much for an 8 to switch back over. So you get both of this. This is like the hard work. You've done the hard work, and now it's time to reap the rewards. That's what the 8 of Pentacles is about. It's like major money coming to you because you've already done the work. And when it's pulled reverse, what I hear is just the fact that you just can't see it. They're like all here, but they're out of your vision. So what I want to suggest for you for the next step is to do a visualization, and also, like, we can do this right here, where you lower your barriers, and just lower your barriers. And see, if I say that, like, my energy shifts. So lowering your barriers so that you can actually receive all of that money that's just waiting for you, that you've already done the work for, you've already made it happen, and all you have to do is actually reap the rewards. And so when you're talking about having your bank account drained, there's like pockets of money just waiting for you to actually take a breath and say, okay, you can come in now. And yeah, you might need to do some physical actualization, but I can see from you where, because you've already done the work, like, they're all just waiting. They're all just waiting for you to actually to grab onto and just be like, okay, I acknowledge that I did the work here. And one of the things that Corey, Michelle, and Catherine talk about is that they say, okay, I'll have the money now, please, which is basically like, I've done all the work, I'll have the money now, please. And sometimes that physically is like looking in your books and being like, you know what, I feel like there's some money going on here, and seeing if there's anybody you haven't actually invoiced, or looking at, just kind of, if you want to go on a scavenger hunt a little bit, and if it would be light and fun for you to actually start being like, you know what, there's money around here somewhere. I'm curious on where that money's been hanging out, because I've been in such a space where I've been work, that I haven't actually had the breathing room to look around to see what the money actually is going on. Okay. So the next step is actually to take deep breath, knowing, all right, I've done all the hard work. And yes, you're a hard worker, so you're going to continue to work. But the money that you're looking for is actually just waiting for you. It's waiting for you to lower your barriers and get quiet and still enough to be able to bring it in. And having more fun will actually bring the money, because money can't resist coming towards fun. It just can't resist going towards fun. And so my next step for you is really to lower your barriers, know that you've had the work. And you said, is this apprentice space? This is a master craftsman. This is not an apprentice. This person's not working under someone else. This is someone who already knows their craft and is doing it to perfection. And I said the P word. I know perfection is not what we're going towards, but you've already got it. That's the part of it that you're not seeing, is that you already have it. So it's not about perfectionism. It's actually about you've already perfected your, the craft that you're doing right now, and it's time to bring in the money. Okay, so that's the next step. And then the final one, this is actually the support card, and it's the devil reversed. Now, the devil card usually scares everyone. I don't know why, because when I used to do tarot, like, I was fascinated by this card because I just thought it was super awesome. And so you actually pulled it reversed. So when the devil's right side up, the devil is about choice. It's literally like the man and the woman that are here. You've got the woman on the side here and the man. And if you see it, you might not be able to see it. See if we can bring it a little closer. See the chains around their neck? They're really super loose. The chains around their neck is super loose because they're not actually tied to what they think they're tied to. This is the card of limitation, and it's a card about, what I can see for this, of this being in your support card, is the fact that that you're allowing the limitations that you see, like, to actually hold you when they actually can't hold you. Like, your energy is so big, and you're allowing it to hold you because it feels like it would be, I don't want to put this, it feels like you'd be too big or too untouchable or unlovable if you actually allowed your bigness there. And especially I see this tied into having clients and putting attention on yourself there, is that the fear is that you'll go into addiction, that you'll become gluttonous, or just totally outside of what your character is. But the worst case scenario is where your mind actually your mind actually goes to like, I will be totally addicted, and I would be, you know, like that would be like the energy that your mind goes to of like, of what's going on with this card, you know, is that of what I see there's a support is that like, is actually allowing yourself to see your limitations and see the things that you've put up and see the things that you've had there and just be like, do I actually really want these? You know, allowing yourself to add that question, you know, in there. And how it's in the support card there is the fact that like supporting the way that knowing your limitations supports you is that it actually will show you places that you still need to grow and places that you actually have mastery in, where you're like, well, that used to bother me years ago. Wow, look how easily I moved past that. And that limitation, that that one's still kind of pinching me a little bit, but oh, look, I can take this chain right off my neck. I'm done with that one. Oh, who does that one belong to? Oh, look, I'm wearing my mom's chain now. Oh, okay. Thank you. You can have that one back. And just allowing yourself to like take off this bondage. Oh, wait, my clients don't always have to come first. I can put attention on myself and set boundaries. Awesome. Take that limit off. And just like allowing yourself to see the support and, you know, see the chains and the limitations as in being a places of growth, but also a places that you can just lift those off. And then you become the energy of, you become the speaker of that particular thing, you know, which is like, you know, you work a lot, I'm sure, with clients that like see their limitations. And so when you actually can see them and be real and honest about how your limitations affect you, then you actually become the person who's walking the talk. And so that's where I see the support there, is allowing yourself, even if you see yourself going into addiction, knowing that addiction is a choice as well. And one of the biggest reframes I ever saw around addiction is that addiction, our primary addiction, and this is also an access consciousness term, but it's a primary addiction that people have is the addiction to being wrong. And so everything else on top of it that they go for an addiction is actually to try to soothe themselves to feel like that this reality is okay. You know, so they're trying to make themselves okay in a world that's been telling them, or a system that's been telling them that they're wrong. And so allowing yourself to know that where you're at is the right place for you, Jenny, and a really powerful place for you to be able to call in that all these limitations that I see for you are really just like those collars that you're wearing to kind of hold you down for a moment to keep your bigness small, you know, and then just allowing yourself to just take them off because you can, you know, and you have all the tools that you need for that. So that's a very long reading for you, but I'm so glad that you showed up and stayed here to play with me. So, and we are at the time. I want to honor the time. So if you have any questions or anything you'd like to add in there, I don't think I'll make an offer today. You know how to get a hold of me. My offer is still the same from before. So if you want to work together, you let me know. And so let me know if you have any questions before we close the space. I so do love reading for people, and I love being able to do these type of things. So, okay. Yep. Awesome. Well, as I said, I will close the space here. We'll close the space and just take it down, thanking everyone that showed up in physical form and everyone else who will come and watch this later. There's no time and space. So thank you all. And I will, oh yes, the bottom line for the devil card. Yes, the bottom line for the devil card in the position that you pulled for it is it's a support thing, and which is basically to allow to allow the limitations that you see to inform you on where you want to move forward and what you want to let go of. And so that the limitations you have are your support. And so you see them and you go, oh, look, there's another place of growth. There's another place where I actually get to become, put more attention on myself. And it is the card of addiction. So if you see yourself going into addiction, don't make yourself wrong about it. Just say, okay, is this what I would like to choose right now? And if you're going to go into anything addictive wise, at least enjoy it. You know, like they talk about, like, if you're going to go into an addictive thing, be like, okay, for 10 minutes, I'm going to whine and I'm going to cry and I'm going to eat donuts, and, you know, like, allow yourself to really enjoy it if you're going to go into addiction, and then make a choice after that and see if you want to do it. So, but yes, you get to get conscious. That is a great way to put it. You know, treasure is in the trauma. That's true. There's quite a bit. And then there's the choice of how much of it you really actually want to decide. And so just not allowing that devil card, like, it's all fear, you know, fear and limitations, about what would happen if I put all this amazing attention on myself. And I just want to tell you that, like, all you do is just become more amazing. You know, that's it. So yeah, awesome. Let me see if my I will put my, in case you do want to have that, there's my offer from before. There's my offer on there. So if you do want to have a reading with me, Jenny, there's my link for doing an offer. So yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for letting me read for you. It was really fun, and thanks for everyone who showed up or watched this later. I really appreciate all the support and love, and I love having a place to be able to give my downloads that come through me. So it's pretty amazing stuff. So yeah, awesome. Well, have a wonderful day, and we will talk next week. Bye.